Yeah.
Bing bong. Bing bong.
Double bing bong.
This is the iDanSimpson Show.
We do it because it's right.
I love the dialectic.
His testicles became swollen.
Based.
Do not come. Do not come.
I'm gonna come. Please clap.
Who's this man? This man in the hat. I'm gonna ruin this.
You're a stupid baby down, not me.
Oh, yeah. That's the whole thing. All right. Love your face. Welcome to Leftist and Chill with me, your host, iDanSimpson. Joining me today, we're getting a raid from Ambiguibot. Perfect timing. You fucking love to see it. Thank you for the raid, Ambiguibot. I'm just about to start my interview. This is absolutely perfect timing. Thank you for raiding, Ambiguibot. Hello, raiders. It's me, Dan. You're raiding in. I was just doing the intro. Let me just pause and start over. You know, maybe you're watching the ad or something, but this is Leftist and Chill. I'm the host, iDanSimpson. And thanks for joining me in the proverbial back row of the classroom of Twitch politics. And let's welcome to the show my guest today, sex working commie, XANDER CORVUS. Please clap. Please clap. Please clap. Yes.
There you go.
Up there. XANDER CORVUS. Surprise.
There we go. Yeah, I didn't notice you there. Sorry. I was, okay, yeah.
It me. And how about, hey, since we're here, how about we have a chat for a little while? How's that sound?
That sounds wonderful.
Awesome.
Yeah, I love having a chat.
I'd love to hear it. Well, thank you for joining me today, XANDER. How's your day going? What's up?
Good. I turned when I turned 30. I just started waking up at 7 a.m. just every morning, and it fucking sucks. So I've been up for a while.
Yeah.
And I got my coffee here.
Cheers.
It's my little cheers. Yeah, it's a mixed protein shake with cold brew, and that's my breakfast gig every morning. So
that does the job for you.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
That sounds all right.
Having a nice morning. How about you? How was your stream so far and all that?
Going okay. Sort of learning about stuff, talking about the supply chain. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Talking about sexy topics. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good stuff. It gets people going. I understand.
I know. It really gets them worked up. All right. So XANDER, we want to, since you're a new champion to the stream, we want to get to know you a bit. We want to have you, of course, tell us about any and all projects that you're willing to share with us. Of course, we'll talk about the SWADE, the Sexual Workers Mutual Aid Project. I do want to ask as well about the new Leaf building community, the tiny homes. That's amazing. Maybe we can find some time, talk a bit about your political and ideological journey, and just see where the chat takes us. If there's anything specifically you want to talk about today, it's sort of that kind of space where we can do that. All right, so let's just jump right in. XANDER, tell us a little bit about yourself. You know, what's your story? You know, where you're from, and then and that'll probably eventually take us to what you're up to now. Sounds good?
Sounds good.
All right, great.
Yeah. Well, I was born on a rainy night in Cincinnati, Ohio. That is actually true, but it was raining. No, I grew up in Columbus, Ohio, in a pretty rough area in Columbus. So I think I didn't know what it was when I was a kid. I didn't know what wealth inequality and what the systematic racism and all that stuff was that made where I grew up the way it was. I think really the kids who grew up on the west side of Columbus like I did, we were just in it. So we didn't notice how rough it was or how scary it was, because this is just our environment. We just were there, you know what I mean? And I think it only became relevant to us when we would bring kids from the nicer parts of town into our space, and they'd be like, ooh, that was kind of a thing. So yeah, I grew up there, kind of obviously not a lot of money because you live in that part of town.
Bing bong.
Oh.
is the iDanSimpson
Oh my God, Xander,
Show.
I was muted, but I accidentally hit the wrong fucking button. We got to listen to this whole thing again. I'm so sorry.
Swollen.
Base.
Do not come.
You know?
Fuck, man,
I'm gonna
it was going so good. And then I hear that funny ratchety sound. Okay, just hang in there with me. That was a technical difficulty.
Man,
I cannot believe we've done this.
So it's all good.
I'm gonna ruin this.
I'm so embarrassed right now.
Stupid baby down.
I was trying to mute myself. I was trying to. Oh gosh, that's one of the worst. I interrupted my entire chat with Xander.
Listen,
Let's get Xander back up. There we go. Oh my gosh, please clap.
That proves, without a doubt, that you, sir, are a true leftist. Okay.
Quality content.
That is perfectly how it works.
Oh gosh, you were in the middle of telling us about your childhood and Cincinnati, Ohio, right?
Yeah, Columbus. Yeah. I
Oh,
was born in
Columbus.
Cincinnati. Yeah.
Excuse me. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I was trying to mute myself so that when I typed, it wouldn't go clicky clack on the chat, and then I shat the bed, and here we are. Okay.
That's awesome.
So let's go from Columbus. Yeah, go from there. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. So no worries. So yeah, that's where I grew up, and it was growing up there. It's like a lot of there's not a lot of money. Obviously, it's like kind of a shittier part of town, and we loved it because we never knew anything else. But after growing up there, when I was like 16, 17, I started getting into like modeling and acting stuff. Then I was 17, I moved to LA, and was working like a couple jobs, and then I was living by myself when I was like 18 in LA. My mom had moved back to Ohio. And then I was doing like mainstream acting stuff. I was on like Nickelodeon. I was on like Zoe 101 and some like fucking like Nickelodeon shows and like commercials and modeling shit. And then that writer's strike happened in God, what year was that? Like 2007, 2008? The LA writer's strike, which is great. I'm glad they did that.
Writers Guild, yeah.
Obviously, there was zero work for any, especially new actors or like young actors. It was fucking nothing. So I was like working like 3 jobs and just like it was just fucked. And then I was bartending, and that's the one. Yeah, cool. And I made a joke at the bar I was working at about just quitting and doing porn. And then somebody that was there was just so happened to know some people and took my drunken bet and raised the ante. And so basically, it became this thing. Like, I guess like the whole time we were just joking about like, oh, you'd never survive in that world, blah, blah, blah. Then a couple days later, I sobered up and I got a call from Penthouse, and now I'm here. Yeah. So I've been doing mainstream adult film for 13 years almost now, since I was like 19, I think, something like that, 19, 20. So yeah, it's been it's been a long time. Yeah.
Wow.
And then like you said about the political thing.
Okay. Yeah.
Like 3 or 4 years ago, first I was working a lot for kink.com, and Kink was a website that had a lot of very left-leaning sex workers and stuff involved. And so that's where I kind of first, because I didn't know where I was politically, right? Like I had no idea. I was just like, I was an alcoholic who didn't give a shit about anything and was looking at 27 Club was my like mindset. So I didn't really know where I was. I knew what I believed in. And then slowly people started talking to me, like especially people from Kink were talking to me about like, actual political shit. And I was just like, I thought something completely different about like communists and anarchists and all that stuff. I didn't, obviously America purposely doesn't teach you what that is. You know what I mean? So slowly I got introduced to some cool stuff and YouTubers and stuff from there, and then realized I was, further on like the anarchist and socialist communist kind of ideas. And then I got turned on to Michael Brooks, and I just completely fell in love with Michael Brooks, right? He was just the coolest fucking dude. And so that was the person that I credit with like giving me the actual leftist places that I am now is listening to him. And
Cool.
then from there, I started actually like digging into like reading theory, well, listening to theory, because I'm too ADHD to fucking read anything. But like I listened to, the Audible and shit, which always surprises me that that's like written, or it's an Amazon company, yet I listen to like State and Revolution on it. And I'm like, this doesn't seem like something you should have on here. But yeah, so that's where I started, getting into that. And then slowly I just, thought it was just more anarchist because it sounded nice and it was like, yeah, cool, but then I was like thinking about it more and just slowly turned more red. And yeah, so that's kind of where I am now, is I'm pretty much the ML kind of straight up commie now. So that's where that is.
You love to hear it. You absolutely love to hear it. Okay, so you're digging on theory. Let's go down that road. How about some theory suggestions from I don't know, any part of someone's timeline? Maybe they're just getting into it. Maybe they're on your level. What do you think, Sander?
I would say starting off, like for me, it was like I'm such a nerd, but like I tried like. The first thing I did was I tried to read Capital, and I was like, "Fuck this!" Like I was just like, "Absolutely not!" Like I got like a chapter in, and I was like, "I fucking can't.
Yeah.
Like this is not gonna work."
Nope.
So first, I read. A friend turned me onto Kropotkin, and that's where I like really got into it. So I did Conquest of Bread, and then I did Mutual Aid. And Mutual Aid was fucking awesome. I loved that. That was fucking cool. And then from there, I moved on to State and Revolution, to Lenin, and I forget what was the other one. Something. Actually, I went to Lenin, and then I read some of Zizek's stuff on Lenin as well, and like so that Lenin became like my boy. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, that was the one for me. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it gets hard to beat.
Yeah, it really does.
It just makes a lot of fucking sense. You know what I mean? It feels like this is the analysis that has been kept from you. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was kind of the thing with like a lot of my anarchist friends too, because like obviously like working in mutual aid spaces and stuff, you're going to meet all types of leftists. And they're all comrades, they're all cool. But that was kind of my thing with the anarchist stuff, was like, I love it. It sounds awesome, but like from what I understand too about talking into it with like some of the smarter like leftists I know, is like the road is socialism, communism, anarchism, right? Like that's like how the flow like makes the most sense logistically, right? And so it's just like when you look at even like what the Bolsheviks did and like how that revolution went, it was it really pertains to America now, in my mind. Sorry, this is my ADHD brain.
You get it. You're doing it.
No. But so now it's like people have we're basically the same as the peasants in early 1900s Russia, right? So we're so uneducated on what Marxism is, what socialism. We're illiterate on that. Like the American populace, the Western left, even, but the Western people are so purposely misinformed about everything that Lenin, Marx, even Stalin, like Mao, all these people. It's Ho Chi Minh is another great example of like nobody fucking knows what that guy was doing. Like I know because I've read it and I've listened to Luna Oy and all these people who like know so much about them.
Nice.
But it's like we're taught all these evil communists want to take your rights away. They don't teach you that there's more democracy in communism, when there's democracy in the workplace even. And it's like they don't teach you any of that shit, right?
No.
And then so like I was saying, like with the whole Marxist-Leninist kind of ideas that I vibe with, it's like Americans are never going to just be like, yeah, you know what, this is right now. It's going to take a quote unquote vanguard of people to be the ones to lead that charge and show people what all of this actually means. And those people are people like you, they're people like Luna Oi and people like these. It's the people who are out there streaming and like making these YouTube videos, because obviously this shit's never going to be on the mainstream news. It's never going to be it's never going to be in the mainstream. It's just not. Like, it's not going to be taught in schools. It's going to take people actually going out of the way to learn this kind of stuff. So yeah, I think that if anything's actually radically going to change, it's going to take a lot of leadership and mass education on an outside of the mainstream kind of platform to do that. So that's also how I kind of like correlate the ML stuff with like what's happening now. You know what I mean? If that makes sense.
I think so. I was vibing. Yeah, Xander, I think that makes a lot of sense. I think people who watch my show, that'll make a lot of sense to them. Before we went live, you were already like giving me the goods right before we went live, and we were talking about, I think, media, specifically how like just what's happening in the media in general, and how sort of threading where you just left off there, of the necessity of like independent leftist media. I don't consider myself part of the vanguard. I don't consider myself anywhere near on Luna Oi's level, but of course I of course look up to Luna Oi so tremendously. And actually we were watching the non-compete video the other day on sort of a need for revolutionary optimism, and it just really worked for me. And I was just like, wow, I almost had nothing to say. I was like, I needed that. Like, really, I needed that. Those are the people I look up to as well, and that's really cool. I'm happy to mention that. So, like, what is the deal? Like, yeah, I think you're right as well, in the sense that mainstream media is not going to touch this. They're not going to touch this interview. You know what I mean? They, most of my guests, most of the conversations that we have, and it's not really that far the fuck out there. We're just pointing at the, I guess, I don't know, in general, the danger of U.S. imperialism and the danger of capitalism, not just fettered or unfettered, just capitalism in general. And of course, the need for a better collectivized response is a better collectivized economy. Anyways, so yeah, and that underscores the necessity for independent leftist media, and just people in general, just being, I think, public with their politics, like you're a sex worker, but you're just a fucking based commie, and you're just out right there with it, and you tell, and you don't. I'm assuming you don't hide it. I don't think it comes up a ton on the works, on the work sites, but I don't know. Does it? Do y'all get into based commie discussions all the time?
I never shut up about it. So
let's go.
I'll talk about it on set, at work. Like, I'm always going. It doesn't show up like on like I've hidden shit in scenes for sure.
Yeah.
Like, I've hidden like little comments and like things that like show up on like the main sites.
Okay.
But like, I don't. Yeah, obviously they're not gonna straight up just make it. But the other thing I was talking about earlier was how people in what the totally not libs mainstream left of the bread tube, whatever thing, they're the people who, see people like Luna Oi and you and anybody left of Bernie Sanders, and, call us tankies and extremists and everything else, and like basically just disregard everything we say.
Yeah.
And it's really annoying, because it seems, it's like when people actually get down to like the actual nitty gritty direct action, like stuff that needs to change and things that need to be to help people with and educate people on, they don't like that because it doesn't fit with their kind of totally not lib mindset. You know what I mean? And it sucks. I hate that, because it's where this I don't know, like even the term tanky, like I just call myself that because I want people to not talk to me who are offended by that.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, I would rather you not. Like, that's why, like, I would gladly just wear my fucking Ushanka, because I'm like, I don't care. Like, I'd rather have that like right up in the front. Like, because I've heard streamers like argue on that stuff, like, oh, that the hammer and sickle stuff is it scares people. It's like, good. Like it should scare the right people. Absolutely. Like, you know what I mean? Like, somebody else also one time about the hammer and sickle thing, they were like, when people like get upset with you for having the hammer and sickle or whatever, you're just like, yeah, I just like exalt or uplifting farmers and workers. That's, you know, that's what that is, right? Like it's like I just like that's symbolism.
Yeah.
But I almost said symbology in that whole scene from fucking from
Boondock Saints.
the King Bowhead crown.
Yeah, no, I hear everything you're saying. I think I was just reading something. It was either from Jakarta Method or this other book that I'm reading, JFK versus Alan Dulles, Battleground Indonesia. And they were talking about in some anti-communist place where they literally banned like sickles. They didn't want people using sickles in their farming because it was associated with communism. Like, how fucking stupid is this? This is like this. That was like the original. That was the original freedom fries. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's amazing.
Okay. So I have tons of questions about, of course, about your job, whatever. I feel like you're probably bored talking about that shit. But I do, of course, want to...
Not at all. I love my job and I love talking about it.
Okay. Well, maybe we'll circle back to that because, of course, our priority today, as I think you mentioned, is we want to talk about this, the Sexual Workers Mutual Aid, SWAID, and I'll pull that up on the screen here. Now... it's
one of our shirts.
Oh, let's see this. Hold on. Oh, sick! These are one of the shirts that you sell. Eat the Rich, Sexual Worker Aid, SWAIDvegas.org. You love to see it.
It's sex worker aid is what the thing's called. And we're there it is. You have it. I was just going to send that to you.
Gotcha. Yeah. So it's a fund created by sex workers, and it's for use by sex workers. So tell us how you got involved with this, and then we'll talk more about it.
It was me, Summer Hart, Tegan Trex, and Cody Moore at the beginning, and we were all like, I moved here during the pandemic, and I moved to Vegas, and we all became friends. And they're amazing. They're the smart ones. Like they're the brains. I'm the cheerleader, himbo.
Yes.
Whatever, but those ladies are the brains for sure. So yeah, we were just talking about like during the pandemic, like how all the, you know, escorts and strippers and cam people, like so many people lost their income, you know, like, cause even cam people were like, oh, cam people are going to be fine. It was like, not really if people aren't going to be paying for your shows. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't.
Did you say what people? I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. What you said? What people?
Cam people.
Cam. So on cam people.
Like
yeah.
Webcam. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And obviously all the web, like the studio sex workers like me who work for like the Brazzers and shit. Like all those studios shut down March 15th, 2020, and didn't reopen again until like late 2021. Yeah. So it was, you know, it was really fucked for us. And one of the major things was we don't get workman's comp. Like we don't get any kind of, like nothing happens for us. Like we can try, but like it's not going to happen. So we were like, dude, like, you know, we make really good like money at what we do. We're pretty privileged and, you know, lucky to be in the positions we are within sex work, because not all sex workers are raking in the bucks, as it were. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of different walks and a lot of different types of people who are in sex work, and we figured from the place that we sit in our place of privilege and where we've worked hard to get where we are, but it's, you know, not everybody has that same opportunity. Not everybody has that same, and there's all types of things that can justify or not justify that can make that a situation where it could be, you know, there's a lot of racism. There's a lot of like really, you know, there's a lot of disability. There's so many differently abled sex workers too. And it's like hard to, you know, it's harder for some people to get, get that going. But so we figured from where we are and how lucky we are to be here, we're like, dude, we can absolutely help everybody else in this by just creating something. It's literally when we started, we were like, all right, so Suede's just going to be this, Vegas thing where we're just going to help people in Vegas. We're just going to give like $100, $200 here and there to people who hit us up and are like, hey, I can't keep my phone on, or hey, I got to feed my kids or pay rent or whatever it is. So we're like, yeah, we'll do that. And then like out of nowhere, like you can, if you go to the page, yeah, that's the request age page. But if you go to like the page where it shows how much like money we've given out, reporting, like
really good shit here.
It started off slow, and then it just fucking went. Like it just launched, So it went fucking crazy, and so we've given over like $100,000 or something in like mutual aid to people, and that's literally just $100, $200, or contraceptives. Plan B. Okay. We're actually registering to become a Narcan distributor as well. Wow. So we do all types of harm reduction shit. So like all of the, and we don't take any money from that. Like you can track our shit. We take nothing from this. We strictly just give all that money out to people who need it. And we don't do, we don't keep records of people's names. We don't keep any kind of legal information like that. If you hit us up and you show us, here's a back page ad with me, or here's where I do work on Craigslist, or here's my camming account, here's my sex worker Twitter, and then you're like, hey, I need help in this way. Then we're like, boom, and that's it. Like no more questions asked. We just do it. And then so we have a mutual aid wish list as well, and this wish list is both for New Leaf community and for Suede. But we put drink testing kits, fentanyl strips, like all this kind of stuff. Because the fentanyl thing's been pretty bad, and also I'm from Ohio, so it's like the opioid shit hit us like a fucking nuke. But so we do all types of fucking ADHD. Jesus Christ, my brain just fucking decides to stop sometimes. No, but we all do all sorts of harm reduction and buying groceries, Amazon gift cards, like whatever we can do. During like the holidays, we do like these wish list things where people will send us, like, if you have kids or whatever and you can't afford to, God damn, why am I getting, it's awesome. I know why I'm getting emotional, but it's like, it's I just get like,
this is awesome. Y'all do great work. Fuck yes.
Yeah, thanks.
It's beautiful.
We once bought, there was this lady who, her kids, it was during the pandemic and she couldn't send her kid to school. So she was like, fuck. She was like, here's a bunch of like schooling stuff on Amazon that you can, like, to help me like educate my kid at home. And so God damn.
Sweetheart.
So we bought all that stuff for her.
Amazing.
So her kid could have school.
I mean, come on. You look at these fucking numbers, folks. Look at, like, these are big fucking numbers. And I know you do these really great streams. I checked out your stream. It looks great. I love a good looking stream. Yeah. And you seem, I think you do gaming streams and you raise, is that one of the ways in which you fundraise? Is that like the main way in which you fundraise, or what's the main way in which you do that?
Well, I mean, we do, the gaming streams help a lot. That's when a lot of people like log on and, give us donations directly to the site. We've done a lot of different streaming stuff with that. Like, I mean, obviously coming on like cool streams like this helps a lot too, because it spreads the word. We actually just had this community, crypto group out here in Vegas hit us up. And they're a group that does like, what is it? Thank you for posting that. Hell yeah.
You got it.
We do, or this crypto group hit us up and they're like an NFT, whatever thing. and at first we're like, no. We're like, you know what I mean? We're like, this is fucking silly. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want NFTs and shit. We're like, I don't think so. But then we started talking to them, and I went and met with them, and they're like just a bunch of like cool nerds who are into like crypto and stuff. And then a few nights ago, they had this big event that I went to with like a bunch of Suede gear and shirts and whatever, and the others were there too. And so they did this NFT auction where they were selling like $500, $1,000 NFTs, and they gave all the proceeds to Suede. Yeah, it was fucking cool. And so now they're like, hey, we want you to be, because we're a community-based crypto thing out here in Vegas, we're like, we want you to be a part of this and like have Suede like kind of partner with us, and we'll make like Suede NFTs and then sell those NFTs to where Suede will constantly get money from them. It's like the most based shit you could do with NFTs. Like I didn't realize that was a thing that could be done, but apparently it fucking can. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
All right, I think I'm an NFT bro now. Yeah.
Right? I didn't know that I was going to be one. And now I'm like, hell yeah, dude, let's get a like, little panda with a fucking red umbrella. Let's go. Like, but yeah, so that's one way we've done it. Also just like
Beautiful.
Other sex workers in our community, especially in like the mainstream, studio stuff, and big cam people have given like crazy big donations to us. And because I think a lot of sex workers, especially like sex workers I know, like really any sex workers, man, like there are so many people who like kind of had the same story as me, where we're like, we came from fucking nothing, you know what I mean? Like grew up dirt ass poor, and then found a way to do it, get it? But we found a way to thrive, and it's just what worked for us. But
I'm gonna start counting our references. But go on, yeah.
Nice.
I love it.
But so we, a lot of people see that, and then I think it kind of sparks that thing in your mind where you're like, I remember when I was wondering how I was going to eat. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so you pay that forward from the position you're in and make it sure that somebody else can eat, or somebody else can keep their phone on, or get tested. You know what I mean? Like that's so fucking important too. Like be able to go to one of our facilities, because our tests are not cheap. Like it's like, I think it's like $135 every time.
Oh, and just every scene, every time, I guess.
Well, we do
contact or something.
For studio stuff, we do. It's a 14-day panel, right?
Okay.
14-day panel and a 72-hour COVID test. Which just depends. The COVID testing shit depends on like how crazy COVID's going at the moment. So there was times that it was a 24-hour test, 48-hour test, 72-hour test. We went back to 7-day tests, and then Omicron happened, and we were back to 24. So we it's expensive to do what we do. But then there's also like the street workers and stuff like that who don't really have that same luxury in the first place, and that's who we want to help give that luxury to, I guess.
And those folks can literally just reach out. They can reach out through your website. I'm pulling up the request page here.
Yeah.
If you're a sex worker in need of aid, you use the form below, and they'll help you out. It's sort of incredible. I saw you were giving. It said you were like giving up to like $200 per request, and that was knocked down to about 100. Of course, there's so many people. I'm assuming that are in need. And you all saw the numbers. They're sending out tremendous amounts of mutual aid, and and that ties a line directly back to Kropotkin. You're like reading mutual aid, and then eventually look at you. You're eventually doing it. You don't need to read Kropotkin to see the value of mutual aid, but that's one avenue, folks. And then they just use this. They send up their Cash App. They put in their PayPal or their bank. It's not just for people in Vegas, but I guess it asks if they're based.
Okay. That's well, I forgot. I ADD'd out earlier, but so our original idea was we're just going to take care of people in Vegas, but faster than we could even really realize, we had people from all across the United States, Canada, the UK, Australia, just people just hitting us up, and we're like, well, we're not going to say no, right? Like, We're not gonna be like, sorry, you're not in the Imperial Corps. Go fuck yourself. Like, it's like. So we were like, of course we're gonna help you. So then it started branching out. And the other thing we want to do is start or is encourage other sex workers in different parts of the world to do this as well.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You've got a model.
To also get under the red umbrella, as it were, and
I just figured that out.
We want to encourage people to do this with us. So if the whether you're in Vegas or not thing doesn't really matter. Whether or not we'll help you, it just like lets us know like how much work we're actually doing in the place that we started it. And we also it sucks because like we've been taken advantage of a lot. So there's a lot of scammers, a lot of like people. And we through our like validation processes, we like we email, we talk to people, we communicate back and forth to make sure you're like who you say you are, because we definitely had a lot of people like we've had people using like super famous sex workers like Twitters to be like, we need like this much money or whatever. And then like it's funny because like it's like if it's somebody like super famous, like insert famous porn star. Okay, that was maybe not the right choice of words, but okay. So whatever, So whoever and it's like people will do that, and then it's like I know that person, like I have that person's phone number, like why are you know what I mean, like so there's a lot of people who are like trying to just get free money from us and taking advantage of what we're doing.
It's fucked.
Which we usually figure them out. We usually figure them out pretty fast, and we know who they are. There was like this fucking like TikTok like fucking Sigma grind set nerd who like basically sent his whole like viewership to do it. Like it's this dude who's just like I don't know, it's some like fucking scammy like asshat, and we got like flooded with all these fucking emails of the same kind of story, and it was just these people trying to take advantage of it. It sucks because that sadly, just like with any kind of movement or any like good thing that people do, there will be people who try to parasite off of that. It sucks. But
what do you think that is?
If you're a sex worker who's in need, we got you. Yeah.
What do you think that was? Was it like they just hate sex? Like they don't like sex workers. They don't see it as labor, as valuable. They're just. Was it like what was it? Was it like they were just fucking around? Like for me, like if you're gonna do that, like you gotta first not see sex workers as people or something. You know what I mean? You gotta be like, well, fuck these people. Well, you're giving away money. Yeah.
This one was. I don't think this one was out of spite for sex workers. I think it was legitimately one of those people who just is out to scam. That was it. It was like because we started watching their footage. We started like getting in their little groups and like watching what they were doing. We infiltrated, and we.
So it's not just seeing sex workers as not people. They just don't see anyone as people.
The government does that for them. So the police and government do the not seeing us as people thing.
That's fucking stupid. Sorry to hear that, dude. We're fucking bummer, huh?
Yeah, and that's another reason why it's really important to us to like be as helpful as we can.
Yeah.
Because literally like even if you're in a sex work situation, like a trafficking situation or a not so consensual sex work situation, like you can't go to the cops about that, especially in Nevada, because they will arrest you.
Mm-hmm.
If you go there and be like, hey, like my pimp or manager or whatever is like, abusive to me, like blah, 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 is doing this, is taking advantage of, whatever. If they figure out that you're a sex worker, you're going to jail. Yeah.
Double whammy.
It's insane. Yeah. It's, and that kind of like leads into the whole like legalization versus decriminalization thing too. Yeah. But it's crazy. Yeah. Cause like the same people who do all this yelling about like, oh, what about sex trafficking, blah, 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 are the same people who like put these laws in place to where trafficking victims can't even fucking help themselves because if they do, they're arrested. And then in Nevada also, if you have prostitution on your record, you can't get housing because they passed a law in 2018 that puts landlords liable and could become like Class D felons if prostitution happens on a property that they own. So they won't even rent to people who do sex work. It's pretty wild. Yeah.
Oh, I'm exhausted. That's exhausting.
Yeah. It's
yeah. Hey, is it? Are you hearing that beeping? Is that coming from me or you? Okay.
It's me. It's
okay, I was just wondering.
Security
I'm not
in
mad.
my house. It's the.
I was just wondering.
Every time the door opens, there's a bang.
I've got like so many things on the stream. I'm like, I've got something that's going bing, and then I got to turn it off. Okay, all good, all good. Sorry, I was a little distracted by that, but yeah. So fucked up. That's fucked up. They've just double whammy, double fuck you. And again, no consent.
Which is
that's
great
one of my
if you
big
want
things.
to be double fucked, but if you
That's
didn't
the
agree
thing.
to it,
It's all about consent.
fun.
It's all about,
Yeah.
well, okay, well, I'm just going to pause right here, Xander, and just let you know, and any other sex workers, I want to let you know that you're valid. You're loved. You know, you are beautiful. You are supported, especially here on the stream, and I think you're wonderful, okay? Your labor matters, and I think that's really important to remember. So thank you, of course, for chilling. I'm in no rush. I don't know. I don't want you to think I'm trying to get out here. All I want to do is just sit here and pick your brain, and I feel like we could do that for a while. Of course, I want to respect your time. Awesome. So, what I'd like to lead off with I try to take a little, maybe this educational role a little seriously here, but it was like, what other things, like what else do people is misunderstood about your line of work, or and I know your specific kind of sex work. You make films. There's different kinds of sex work, of course. You maybe recently saw the one of the more recent John Oliver videos where he talks about sex work, and I think it's been celebrated by many on the left, the left of Bernie left, and I wonder what your thoughts are about that. But generally speaking, I really wonder what you think is misunderstood about sex work. Like how can I make this time valuable with you on my stream today?
I haven't seen that video. I'd like to watch it though. Was it John Oliver?
Yeah. What did I say, Stewart? I was watching a Jon Stewart video yesterday. And,
the original. Yeah.
Yeah. The OG.
No, I haven't seen that, but he's so hit or miss.
Yeah.
It's like there's so often I watch John Oliver clips, and I was like, you were so close. Like you were right there. Like you just. You were at the point, and then you turned on fucking Lib Avenue, and I was like, you were supposed to go down Commie Road, man. Like you were right there, but yeah, it didn't work out.
Here he is talking about. It's on mute. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is him talking about sex work stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, let me blow my nose real quick.
Do your thing.
Right
yeah.
back.
Do your thing.
All right, hold on.
Let me just unmute it here. This will fill the time. Oops. Double unmute, Dan. Double unmute.
The cute little bird outside
Let's start
your
that
window
over.
is constantly.
I don't even know if I'll be able to re-upload this to YouTube. Is this a DMCA? Guess we'll see.
Our main story tonight concerns sex. You know, the thing that the cute little bird outside your window is constantly screaming about. It's true. It's yelling, sex, sex, I'm...
All right, I'll pause it. He's just wildly unfunny. I'll just mute that there. I really want him to be much funnier. I think his writing staff's not that great. Although, again, I think this was celebrated as a take, as a good take, actually. 25 minutes. I've got a book. I've got a book. I've not yet read it yet, and it was. I'm sorry. It was celebrated by that author. Okay, so yeah, where were we? We're trying to get to the bottom of what you think is missing. Maybe. How about this? Among the lib left, what do you think is missing from their understanding? How can we help them in case anyone's watching today?
Well, I think
pretty broad question. Sorry.
No, that's good. I think that a lot of people have like this preconceived notion of like they think, and this is also film, like Hollywood kind of film fault, like where it's sex workers are portrayed in a certain way, right?
Okay.
We're shown as like drug addicts, and I mean, I'm a fucking alcoholic. I'm almost 2 years sober though on April 1st.
Congrats.
But thank you. But like they show us as these people who are like hyper exploited and have no autonomy and have no control over themselves, or they show this really shitty view of us. They also conflate consensual sex work with like trafficking and all this stuff, and that's how the religious sites attack like all of our work, right? They're like trafficking victims, but they do fucking nothing for trafficking. Not a fucking thing. Not a goddamn thing ever. We as Suede have done more for trafficking victims on a larger scale than any of these fucking like, what are these dumbass fucking companies called? I forget what they're called. They're all these like religious fucking companies that just like, that's their whole thing is protecting the sex trafficking victims, but they literally do not a goddamn thing. Like the one group, I forget what they're called, but I don't want to give them fucking airspace either. But that one group that tried to take down all like Pornhub and browsers and everything else, like one fucking case, they actually tried something at one time in the history of their entire organization. And during that, like our people at Slate and stuff have helped hundreds of people who've been in shitty situations, and it's so insane. Like it's all just a grip. It's all fucking bullshit. But it's all just to like get their conservative bullshit through. But
moral panic.
I got angry, and then
no, that's good. That's good. Yeah.
We were talking about so the misconceptions. They think that we're dirty. They think we're like diseased fucking whatever things. It's like most sex workers, like I would feel much safer about having sex with any sex worker than a civilian most times, because like you can ask like literally. So we were at this thing the other night, and we're walking around giving condoms out because we were like, hey, like. And plan B, we're like, hey, cream pie on us, blah, 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 you know what I mean? Like, check out SladeVegas.com. Like, and we were just like doing the thing to like promote. And like, so many dudes were like, I don't fucking use condoms. And the girls who were there giving them out were like, ew? Like, that's okay. They're like, well, do you get tested? They're like, oh, I don't need to. And they're like, oh, okay. Like, I'm going to go over there now. Thank you. Like, it's fucking gross. But so like we,
oh my gosh,
we tend to test and take care of our sexual health a lot more than most people do. I'm sure you're great, and all you watching are fucking great. But I do encourage everybody to always, at least once a month, if you can afford it, to go get tested. You know what I mean? It's super important. It's good for, especially if you're a sexually active person. Like, last thing you want to do if you give a shit about your partners at all is pass anything to them or catch anything from them either. So it's like getting tested together is super, super important. So I encourage everybody to do that. And if you're not going to do it, wear protection where you can. It's super fucking important shit. They think that everybody in porn is like wildly exploited, and it's all this terrible stuff, and not that it's our job that we choose to do because we love it and makes us happy. That is, I use 2 condoms every time.
I don't know about that.
Yeah,
Kappa.
that's gotta feel great. But Exodus Cry, that's it. Yeah, Exodus Cry. Thank you, Sierra. Oh, also, real quick, Sierra. If you can send me that link in Discord to the Red Dot store, or to the Red whatever bubble store, Sierra actually makes a lot of our Suede shirts and a lot of our Suede gear.
Awesome.
She is a fucking awesome, hilarious artist who had one of her shirts banned, I think, off of Redbubble because it was the one with it looked like an Always Sunny in Philadelphia cover, but it was like me and all the Suede people. It was adorable. It was hilarious, but they like got rid of it because they were like, it's too like, I don't know, but whatever. Anyway, so yeah, a lot of the misconceptions that people have about sex work are put in place by propaganda, by like state propaganda shit. We're always portrayed certain ways in movies. We're always portrayed in really any media as this like, you know, group of like just shitty people, and it's not the case. And also like some of the like, man, I have met, especially even the women that are also in Suede here, like I'm kind of smart like when it comes to like theory and shit like that, like in Dungeons and Dragons knowledge and shit like that, but like I am just absolutely eclipsed and dwarfed by these women, like in a huge way. Like I'm just like like I just like, you know what I mean? So it's funny, like, oh, thank you, Sierra, awesome. Yeah, that's the link where you can go check out our the Suede gear. It's pretty sweet.
Hold on, is anything gonna be TOS here? I gotta be fucking careful.
Oh yeah. Is there any TOS stuff on there?
Let me preview it first. Oh man,
I don't think there is.
I'm gonna get myself in trouble. I definitely can't pull up your Twitter profile.
Yeah, don't do that. Yeah, don't ever do
Incredible.
that. Yeah.
No, I think we're okay. All right. Yes, let's go. Kate Swagus.
Oh no, it stayed. It's the Always Sunny one. It's that third one there.
Yeah. Oh, this one, the Lotus. Wait.
The Lotus. That was the one that like I forget where it was taken down from because it's somebody complained about it, but it's fucking adorable. I don't know. I guess you can't really make it big, but
try to zoom in on the.
There
zoom.
It is.
Enhance. Nice. Is that you? That's you with the beard, right?
Oh, it was because Cody's a naked baby. That's why.
Oh my
like she looks like a naked baby. So, yeah,
amazing.
But no, it's awesome. So
nice. Okay.
Yeah, but like, sorry that I keep getting distracted. But yeah, I think one of the other things that happens a lot is people like Exodus Cry and politicians and shit will sit there and speak for sex workers, and they don't actually listen to any sex worker voices on shit. You know what I mean? It's like the same shit you would hear about, you know, if some politician's up there talking about steel workers and has never fucking burned his hand on hot steel before in his life. Like, it's like, you should shut the fuck up, actually, and like let the people in the industry talk about it. So yeah, that's listening to sex workers is probably the most important thing. Is if you want to know what it's really like, is listening to us actually tell you what it's like, as opposed to just assuming shit from movies and whatever else.
Yeah. I mean, I think not a lot of people know sex workers. I don't, I can't say I've spoken to sex workers before I sort of joined sort of the leftist Twitch political sphere, and then I found myself talking to them, and I'm like, oh, they're just like us people, you know. They're just like us,
exactly.
And you know, I think the people that maybe you were referencing a moment ago, I think I don't know the names, it doesn't matter, but like, you know, porn haters, I don't know what to call them. They watch porn, you know, everyone's watching porn, everyone's enjoying it. The biggest porn hating countries watch it the most, you know what I mean? Or whatever I'm trying to say. But so I guess I'm very glad to have you here. Maybe we can talk to you about it. You seem open and willing, and I'm super curious. So let's circle back. I hate to disappoint conservative Twitter, but we're going to circle back. And I would love to ask you about, you were about like 19. You were a bartender. I was a bar back.
I was a
bar back, yeah.
Technically, I was a bartender.
Yeah.
Legally, I was a bar back.
Yeah, I know. I went through the same thing. I never became a bartender, but I bar backed a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely mixing drinks and doing all of the shit, but on paper, I was not allowed to do that. Yeah.
That's how it is. They barely let me touch the booze. It was like a special time when they were especially busy. Okay, so you're bar back. Someone suggested you become you do porn.
I made a joke about it. Yeah.
Okay. That never. Well, no one ever. Even if I cracked a joke about it, no one would ever go, "Yeah, Dan, you should do that." So but that happened to you. You had that experience, and you're like, "All right." So you went and I don't know. You started to do porn. I don't know. Like how do you start to do porn? You get an agent. You just start doing it on your own these days. You could do cams these days, I guess. But you're talking about we're talking about film. We're talking about skin flicks.
Yeah.
I think it's go on.
Yeah. So I love that term, by the way. But no, back in my day, you see, back in the 2008 2009 when I started. It was definitely different than now. Like back then, like I got the call from Penthouse. They were like, "Hey, like we got you set up for something if you want to do it." And I was just like, "Holy shit, this is real!" Like, I mean, yeah. Like, what do I have to do? I guess because, like I said, I was working like 3 jobs. I was fucking living out of my car, and I was, I had no real like prospects really. And I was like, yeah, you know what? I like sex. I like being on camera. I like acting. Like fucking why not? You know what I mean? Like cool. And so they sent me to get tested, which also I'd never done. So I was terrified. I went into the testing place and like and back then it was like, now it's 24 hours. Like the next morning you get your results like immediately. Back then it was like 2 days, 3 days. So it was just me like just terrified for like 3 days. And then finally, the test comes back and then they're like, all right, cool. Like, let's get you on this day to come in and do your scene. And cool. And, but nowadays, most people like, you start your OF or your cam site and you can just get going however you want. And then companies will just reach out to you. As opposed to you like going and getting an agent and doing what they call like go-sees. And go-sees are basically like when an agent gets like a new guy or girl on their roster and they take them to all the studios and they're like, hey, like this is this person, blah, blah. And they're usually like, okay, cool. Like, what do you like? What do you want to do? What like, blah, blah. And then they obviously have the nude pictures of you and blah, 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 and all that stuff. And they see where they can put you in the films they create. But now, it's social media is all you fucking need now.
Incredible.
So it's definitely. I think also that the pandemic really did shift the power dynamic in the industry a lot because once all the studios shut down, the studios had all the control before, right? Okay. So everybody had to kind of like kowtow to the studios and do exactly what the studios want. They had to look a certain way and do this, that, and the other. Yeah. When the pandemic happened, it was the fucking Wild West for sex workers, and we just figured it out. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's when, everybody was like, you know what? I can have fucking purple fucking hair and nobody can say shit to me. And then they realize, all these different looks and all this other stuff. People on the internet love that shit way more. And that's where the market is now, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like people on the internet love this shit way more. And so all the studios were like, yeah, like we can't really, dictate. It's not the 90s anymore where you have to be big boobs, blonde, fucking whatever, like exactly this set image of a thing. Now it's like different body types and different looks and styles of performance are all at the forefront as opposed to the cut and, stamped whatever porn star look. I hate that term. Porn star. Yeah, but it's such a it's so stupid. I hate it. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay, because so that shifted the paradigm or the dynamic hugely, bigly. It shifted it so that like a lot of that power turned back into the workers, which is really, really cool. And after everything got set back into motion and the studios reopened, it was cool to see people making demands. You know what I mean?
Oh.
Yeah, to see people going to set and demanding this is my rate now. You know what I mean?
All right.
Like there was kind of like set rates a bit before that. And then when we came back, because like especially like these like a lot of the like female presenting talent that I knew or know were coming back to scenes, and people were like, "Hey, we want to pay you this much for this boy-girl scene," and they were like, "I make that like sitting on my couch, like naked on cam in like an hour and a half. Like, why would I come here to do that for you?" And studios were like, "Shit!" Like, like they figured it out, So that was kind of cool to watch that happen, and and it changed the vibe of sets in general to where now, like the company I work for was always really good about like there's always food, there's always like showers, and everything's really set up well. But like, it changed it a lot for a lot of people to be able to come back and actually have bargaining power again, which is fucking sweet. So that's a big difference from when I started. Because when I started, it was like, figure it out, nerd. Like, yeah, you gotta get in here and do it. You know what I mean? It was the trench work, as we used to call it. Like, it was, very different. Like my very first day on a scene was, she was awesome. Janet Mason was her name. She's an old school. She's been shooting since like the 90s or something. But she was so nice, such the sweetheart. And I did my first scene with her, and I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. Like I knew how to do it, but I didn't know how to do it for camera.
Right.
And it was
the skill set. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like a thing where you got to think about lights. You got to think about opening up to the camera, like so people can see what's happening. Because if you're covering the action, nobody wants to watch it. So the first scene was just chaos, and I just did what I would do at home. Like, and then the second male talent actually did like a no call, no show and didn't show up for the day. So the director was basically like, "Hey, new guy, you got another one in you." And I was like, "Fuck yeah." I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Like, and so I was so excited, and I did the second scene. And then from then on, Penthouse was like, "This dude does 2 scenes in a day. Like, fucking sign him up. Like, let's go." And so that's
legend.
Yeah, that started being my thing.
Wow. What did you do? You had to like be a different character? You like put a hat on or something?
Basically, it's literally that much of a change. Like it's like you just change shirts and now it's a different day.
Fake mustache.
Yeah.
Hilarious. Well, that does. I mean, yeah. If anyone's ever like try to like shoot porn at home, not fucking knowing what they're doing, like shoot like a video with you and your partner, it becomes immediately clear. You're like, oh, these people know what they're doing. Like, these adult film people really know what they're doing. Like, it's clearly a skill set, and I'm like, oh, okay, I get it now.
Yeah, and when you're learning, like what makes you good at this job, like in my mind, is when you start to just naturally know where the camera is, you know where the lights are, you know how to position to make things available to the viewer, right? Like, because and that's one of the issues that a lot of guys who get into this industry are like, "Yeah, dude, I'm gonna smash so much ass, bro." Like, and it's like, okay, like you're gonna do great, like you know what I mean? Like, and there's a lot of dudes who come in like that, and they never get hired because they're just there for them, right?
Yeah,
they're not there to make the product. They're not there to make their scene partner look good or make a good show of it. They're just there to like feel good about themselves that somebody else had to be paid by somebody else to have sex with that person. You know what I mean?
Shit,
like,
yeah, when you boil it down that way.
Yeah, it's like that's not a win, Chief. Like you didn't. Sorry, but you're like, it's like you guys are like contractually here. Like, stop acting like you did this on your own. But but like, so when you can kind of just naturally do all those things, like knowing where the camera is and just like positioning and all that stuff, like that's when you're actually like you get good at this job, right?
All right.
And it does get weird because there is times that you find yourself opening at home.
Oh my God. Like,
wait a minute, no, I can man blanket. I don't need to do this shit. You know what I mean? That's kind of funny because like just separating yourself from like doing work shit at home, because we don't want to like I'm telling you, man, like most of us, we don't want to do that crazy shit at home. Like we're fucking like that's work. You know what I mean? We want to enjoy ourselves.
Yeah.
We don't want to do 30 to 40 minutes of like these ridiculous fucking positions that make no sense.
Oh my
we want
gosh.
to just handle it and go to sleep, eat a sandwich and shit. Like, yeah. So I hope that's not too graphic for this.
No, not at all. Not at all. That's just fine. We can go down that route. Yeah. I'm wondering, like, you're talking more about gaining more leverage in the workplace. I wonder, like, what would you do? What if you could add any one thing, or maybe remove any one thing from like your workplace, from like the sets of adult film? What would that thing be? What would you make sure would always be there, or would never be there?
Well, I had a big discussion with my company, the company I work for, a few years ago, where basically they had this little meeting structure that they would do with like the contract performers who like work directly for the company, where they were like, hey, like what would you like to see more or less of, or blah blah blah. So they basically took us all in like at separate meetings to like figure it out. And I had like prepared this whole fucking like Bernie Sanders speech, and I was like doing the hands and the whole thing. And, like because basically one of the things that pissed me off really bad was there was a couple scenes that we would do where it was like in gyms, right? Like in actual like gyms that were closed down. Obviously there's nobody in there, but where, we're doing the thing on like equipment that had been like wiped down or whatever, and there was no fucking shower. You know what I mean? And it's like, are you guys going to get us a hotel room? We can go fucking clean off after this? Like, that's how you get a staph infection, my man. Like, that's why you go shower after you go to the gym. You don't have sex at the gym and then just go home and not shower. Like, you have to handle it. And so, like, I was really pissed off about it, some things like that. About, us not having, even if it's like an 8-hour, 9-hour day, it's like one meal over 8 or 9 hours is not fucking enough. Like, if we're there for that long, you get us more food. And so that was kind of some of the stuff that we went over in this thing. And then after I said all this, they were like, wait a minute, this is happening on some of our sets? And I was like, yeah, motherfucker, it is. And so from then on, they like made sure, like, we worked on this like performer, like this Bill of Rights thing, basically, of like how things should be on set and like how you should be, how everybody should expect to be treated and what's okay. And even in that, I was like, and I'm not only talking about like, ooh, performers deserve this, like crew members too, like fucking, the sound guy and the fucking the talent assistant and whatever else. Like, these people need to be taken care of. Like, they need to eat food. They need to feel comfortable. Like, it's like we need private bathrooms to like douche and whatever else. Like, we need like places to do all this stuff. And so most of the time that's taken care of, but in the situations where sometimes it wasn't, I that's when like the tiara comes on and I start yelling about shit. Like, it's I pull the princess card in those kind of situations. And not because I'm like, I want to be carried in on a fucking throne. And no, I want to be treated with like OSHA fucking rules. And I'm sorry that offends you. Like, but that's like, I want like a compliant workplace where we can feel safe. Now I think the only thing I really have to complain about on set is, especially my company, we do these ad scenes and it's just annoying, but I get paid well. So I just shut the fuck up about it. And it's just an annoying part of the job where it's like, we have to, all those things you see popping up on the side of the sites. Yeah. Those things. Right. Okay. So it's just like, they're just scenes that there's like more little shots of you going, and fucking whatever else. Yeah. Like, that's just annoying. But otherwise on set, man, like, people have, especially with I only work for one company now, but our people, they take real seriously the ideas of, like, for instance, okay, so Now, before we do a scene, we all sit down and we have this like sheet that we fill out, and it has what you're comfortable with,
okay.
and a space for you to write what you're not comfortable with, and like you don't have to explain why. You know, it's like none of that shit. You just like, I don't like choking. I don't like nipple pinching or fucking tickling. I don't know. Well, like all this stuff is on this list, and you list out what you want or don't want. You're also informed on your.
So it's like you're making a sub at Subway. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. It's
Here's my order.
Foot long.
$5 foot long, sir. Get your foot long.
or Quiznos or whatever. But those are the best commercials. Oh my god, I love those commercials.
Hot and ready.
The Quiznos, the little monster guys. Remember those things?
We had Quiznos at college. I had that like every day, dude. It was disgusting stuff.
It's so gross, but it's great commercials. But so yeah, we fill out this whole thing. It has your pronouns. All this stuff is like taken care of, and it's really, really nice. I mean, obviously, there's a part of it that's like it's covering the corporate ass, but it's also making sure that the performers feel safe and respected on set, and it's cool. And sometimes even if something happens that's like like for instance, I don't like feet on the business, right? And if something like that happens, like it's not like, oh, like you're fucking done and this is over. Like you just stop and you're like, hey, like I don't like that, so let's not do that. And it's like, cool, okay, sorry, like, and then you move on and everybody feels comfortable. We're also given lists, or not lists, but we're also communicate on safe words throughout the scene.
Yeah.
And so,
do you have a safe word? Do you have one that you go to?
Well, the thing we usually go with is cut.
Sorry.
Because
cut. That's the universal safe word.
Right.
And I'm going to pause you right there. I'm sorry to do this. We just got rated. Really stoked to be with our raters. Hello, Willy Bonga. Thanks for rating in. I'm talking today with based and objectively good sex working commie XANDER CORVUS. We're talking about sex work. We're talking about adult film right now. This is fascinating. I bet most people are watching porn. I don't know the fucking stats. I just bet most people are like me. And I watch it too. We all do it. What are you going to say?
It's fun stuff.
Yeah, it's fun. You know what I mean? People are fucking hot. That's just the truth. You know what I mean?
True.
People are fucking hot as shit.
People are hot.
People be sexy out there. So welcome in, Raiders. Oh, shit.
Whoa.
With the fucking 25 bomb.
Dude.
Thank you, Boof. Boof dropping a 25 bomb here on chat. Chat, you just been boofed. Well, hey, XANDER, we've gone over, and I really want to make sure that I'm respecting your time.
Oh yeah,
I'm really enjoying this.
Listen,
do you mind if we keep chatting?
Yeah, definitely. I'm just gonna play Hell Let Loose today and go get tested. That's it. Like
Hell Let Loose. That's one of the video games you're playing. You do games here on Twitch. You mentioned you do fundraisers here. A part of those going towards, and I'll put those links in the chat. Some I think all of those proceeds go to the sexual worker aid. That's Wade.
Like I don't like. I never want to take any donations or shit for myself on Twitch or anything, like, because I make my money shooting scenes, and I'm gonna play video games anyway. So I figure I might as well, when I play video games, I might as well boost the mutual aid shit that I.
Good on you. Good on you. Yeah. Well, again, Raiders, thanks for rating in. We're gonna keep chatting with XANDER here. I've got some questions. And I'm just sort of like generally curious about this, but like, let me keep asking a little bit about, since you are specifically, it seems like most familiar with adult film. Like, here's a weird question, and I'm scared I'm going to know the answer, but
I love it.
What I don't know, like what skills do you feel like you have, that are your particular skills, and maybe is there someone that you like look up to, where you're like, okay, and maybe you've learned a lot from them in your line of work?
I mean, I did a lot of like mainstream acting stuff before.
Cool.
Right. And like improv comedy stuff. Like I did like in LA, I did like Groundlings and the improv. Like I worked like with the improv groups and improv comedy stuff a lot. So really, like in my scenes and all that stuff, I think obviously other than being able to like do the positioning and opening and sexual performance stuff for the job, I feel like Brazzers especially like just knows with me. And so they purposely like give me scripts where they're just like, here's the lines for everybody, but kind of just let Xander be a lunatic for a while. And like, and I just do, and I just go with it. And so I love adding like silly comedy and like that kind of comedic depth to porn because I think it's fun. Yeah. And then
it's boring otherwise, right?
People I look
you gotta
up
entertain
to in the
yourself.
industry, I mean, it's hard sometimes thinking about like who you look up to in the industry because like there's people that you like. I'll say like one guy I always looked up to when I first started was Mick Blue. And Mick Blue is a Austrian. He's our Schwarzenegger, right? Like he's great. He's a sweetheart, and he was the first person that like kind of took me aside on set and was like you've got a lot of potential, so keep your head on straight and you'll do good in this industry. But he's like Mick is a really sweet guy. The only like with a lot of the old school guys, like there's really fucking cool dudes. There's obviously a lot of like toxic masculine type stuff that goes on, and that sucks. And it's an older generation thing. It's sad, but like old dogs, new tricks. It sucks that's how it is. It's kind of like the same shit where it's like, my dad was one of those like therapies for pussies kind of, you know what I mean? Like that kind of guy who needs to desperately be on medicine and is not because it's you're weak if you do that. So, it's tough like that, but as performers and as people who've like helped me learn, like there's definitely a lot of guys that I would say that I look up to in that aspect. And then also there's the older guys in the industry too, who aren't, who do have the progressive views, and it's great to see that shit, but literally that's just how it always goes in any situation, like the olds and the new type thing. Like it's always going to be, hopefully forward motion. What was the other thing you said? You said your skills.
Yeah. Like who inspired you? Any specific skill sets that or skills that you feel like you have that helps you stick out? You got some improv action.
Yeah. The
Love to hear
stuff. I'm trying to be TOS as well. I'm trying to stay within the bounds of
you can
my
say just about anything,
set.
right? Yeah.
But no, I think ADHD actually helps me a lot.
Hey.
I think it's really actually a huge benefit in any kind of improv situation, really, but especially in like I was just ranting about this the other day, but any group situation scene, like I fucking thrive because if there's two partners there, right? And I'm like, my brain is already doing a billion things, so I'm like, I can fully function like this. Yeah. Like I am at 100. Because like there'll be times when it's like if any ADHD person tries to focus on one thing, our brain is just all over the place. Like I'm thinking about whether like the laundry is going to be in the thing too long. Like they're like, I'm in like doggy and I'm like, I'm like doing the thing. I'm still doing the job, but I'm still, when it's a boy, girl type situation, the more the merrier, you know what I mean? That's when I thrive the most, is because that's when my brain is fully engaged, I guess.
Of course, your critics just say you're greedy.
True. Yeah. Well, that's also true. I'm a sexual capitalist by a lot. I want all of it. But
bougie sex dude. Hey, do you have critics? Do you have critics?
Oh my God.
What do your critics say about you?
Dude,
What's the one that cuts the
craziest
deepest?
thing in my mind.
Yeah, go with the worst criticism.
Like the craziest thing in my mind is that there are porn critics.
Oh, okay,
Like,
they just don't like porn in general.
Yeah, it just blows my mind because
They watch it.
Like you're here, like it's like the same shit like as these people who like watch UFC and they're like, oh, dude, you should have fucking like, why'd you let him hit you, bro?
Oh my
like,
god.
And it's like, what the fuck would you would have done, huh? Like where, like, please, like, show me how you would have done this because no, all right, like you're not
okay.
Like it's just one of those. It's so silly to me because people are just like, it really just reminds me of like the UFC thing or like people watching like tactical shit and they're just like some fucking dingus who's never done anything like that and is like explaining to you how you should have done it. Like, okay, very cool. Would you have got out of that arm bar because you're a badass? Like, shut up. But that's like the way I kind of see it is I kind of just laugh at it. And then like the critic stuff is just more, it's more just like trolls and it's a lot of abusive shit, honestly. Cause like, and the girls get it worse. Like I would say any femme presenting or trans people in the industry is like in general, like they get it. Like even after when we did the first Brazzers scene with a trans woman, me and Daisy Taylor, and like the internet just fucking exploded.
Yeah,
like in the best and worst ways. Yeah. Like it was this overwhelming hit of like just so many people who were just like, oh my god, this is great. This is finally like we're seeing trans women on like the main sites. Like this is wonderful. And then you get just some of the most insane transphobic shit at the same time. And I even like, dude, like I remember when it was first happening to me and like, I was like, fucking A, like the transphobes are fucking goose stepping out, like Jesus Christ. And like, for me, I was like, yeah, it's annoying and it sucks and it's like hurtful or whatever. But immediately I was like thinking about like Daisy and shit and thinking about like Natasha and like Domino. And I'm just like, dude, like me getting it as like a cis het dude, that's not shit like compared to what these women go through. You know what I mean? So it's like, I can't sit here and be like, ooh, woe is me. Mean person said transphobic thing to cis het guy. Like I immediately just have to think of like how much worse they have it.
Yeah.
Of this abusive shit than I could ever get. Yeah,
I got you.
There it is. Nice.
Nice. Yeah, that's incredible.
Very brave of you to do that. Yeah.
I had to definitely be careful.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. This is incredible. You look great, dude. You work out a lot.
Thank you.
Dear gosh.
I do. Yeah.
Way to go. Good beard.
Thank you.
That's nice. You got rid of it too, huh?
The what?
The beard.
Oh yeah. I miss it. I do.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I sort of don't miss it. The whole wearing masks thing really fucked with me. I hated it.
Yeah, that was tough.
Sucked.
The masks and beard thing is not easy.
Yeah.
But
looks stupid.
Yeah. So. Oh yeah, and it almost showed the comment I made under that actually
I got you.
was pretty sincere as well. Because and that's how I felt about it because like I felt like this is something that should have been done a long time ago, but hasn't been because sadly and I would rather obviously let like a trans performer or whatever expand on all that, but trans people are often shot through a very exploitative lens, where it's the fact that they're trans that makes the scene and not that they're a man, woman, or non-binary person. You know what I mean? It's like it's almost like they shoot a lot of and I speak from this because of like what Natasha and Daisy and a bunch of my other trans friends have told me about being a trans sex worker, and it's like it's it's often a very exploitative focus on them as opposed to just being a hot person who's in a sex scene. You know, where like what we were trying to do was trying to shoot a boy-girl scene. That was it. You know what I mean? We were shooting a boy-girl scene with Daisy and me, and that was like we want. Like, basically, it was just like wanting that to be normalized in a view that's not like exploitative of like in some way like fetishizing them as a trans person, but shooting a scene between a guy and a girl. That's awesome. That was our kind of our move, right? And also the other thing with these scenes, especially with the scenes I did with Brazzers for them, was I wanted to have Daisy and I write how the scene goes.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So that way there's a trans person directly involved in how they are portrayed in a film.
Okay.
And so Daisy and I actually kind of did the way that Daisy and I met, which was, it was really funny because like we met on Tinder.
Yeah.
Because I saw this hot lady and she had a Pornhub shirt on in her thing. And I was like, and she like liked one of my pictures or whatever on Tinder.
Let's go.
And I was like, okay,
It's
let's
on.
get Pornhub shirt on. That's nice. And so, you know, we started messaging and back and forth. And then I was like, hey, I noticed you had the Pornhub shirt on, blah, blah, blah. And that's kind of cool. And she was like, yeah, I work for them. And I was like, I'm sorry. I was like, how have we not met, my lady? And then we started, you know, talking about it and talked about hanging out and everything. And then, you know, all the conversation about like, you know, trans people and all that stuff came up, and it was really beautiful, just like getting to know her, and like she's such a sweetheart. And and then like a couple months later after the pandemic, we were like, let's do a scene. Let's normalize this as much as we can. Let's bring it to the mainstream. So yeah, that was pretty cool.
So yeah, I mean, this is the first one on Brazzers.
Yeah.
I may have heard of Brazzers once or twice in my life. Anyways.
Yeah, it's very obscure stuff. Yeah. Very fringe.
Yeah. You have to really go deep on the internet to find the Brazzers. Okay, so now you know, we're mentioning that it's not exactly normalized. You know, we're working towards it. Brazzers has now have trans content, I guess. Are there other studios that are doing this in you know, non-exploitative ways? Is the how do I put this? Is it, you know, are trans performers, you know, more generally, you know, more exploited than you know, non-trans performers? Is that, you know, hopefully we're moving in a good direction here. I don't know, what's the landscape? Because we got your anecdote, your experience, which is valuable, of course, not to diminish it. But yeah, I'm wondering what the whole landscape's like.
Well, I mean, sadly, there's always going to be, I feel like, not always going to be, but there just is right now. Like, even I would say the same thing for non-white, like POC performers as well. Like, you know, they're definitely exploited in certain ways. And the way to change that really is, you know, obviously people in like for instance, okay, so my dad's black and my mom's like Scandinavian and Jewish and English, and so like I have never had to face outwardly black racism in my life, right? Like once people found out about my dad, like then I get hit with shit, right?
That's
I've
wild.
got girls that weren't allowed to date me when somebody figured out my dad was black, or just really the crazy shit, especially growing up in the 90s in Ohio. Like there's just a lot, but I've never had to experience being an outwardly black person on the street and like deal with what that racism or that kind of effect is, right? But on a lot of times, like there's a lot of black performers and stuff who get put in exploitative roles and shit. And the sad part is a lot of these companies that shoot exploitative shit have the market cornered in that, right? and it sucks because there's performers I've talked to who, and the same thing with like trans performers shooting for very exploitative scenes and stuff. A lot of times they don't have, if they have bills to pay, they have a mouth to feed. They don't have a choice so much. Like, I don't slight anyone for taking those roles, right? I can't do that. Like, that's not my place, or anything to even think about that. Like, but it definitely happens, and it's sad as fuck. Like, I remember having discussions with some of my Black performer friends about, like, I was bringing up like, how many times have you played a thug and how many times have you played a doctor? And one of my buddies was like, I don't think I've ever played a doctor. And I'm like, yeah, like that's fucked, right? Like, so I think a lot of there's really amazing like POC performers in the industry who have like very valiantly led that charge in changing that. And the same thing with like the trans performers and trans POC performers who have just like fucking led beautiful charges in that and done a lot of amazing work like that. I'm a white appearing cis guy, so like I don't have a soapbox in that arena so much. Of course, I still have emotions about it, obviously, because like I grew up in a mixed race household who experienced my own brand of racism during that. But I think that those we're meant to listen and kind of follow the lead of people directly in those scenarios, in the most part, you know what I mean? So I think there is that kind of racial and sexual, not sexual, racial and what would you call that?
Gender,
gender,
sexual orientation.
That genuinely does happen, and it sucks. But there is thankfully, there is a lot of companies and stuff who no longer take part in that and have made the changes for the better because of those performers who stood up for themselves and rallied, educated people and rallied people behind them about it. That's fucking awesome.
Is there like a sex workers union?
Sure.
Something like that.
There's like kind of there's like attempts at unions. But sadly, I don't drama. But
okay, sorry.
I don't. To me, a union provides better working situations, healthcare, like retirement plans. Unions are a labor thing, right? Unions make sure that the people in a certain field of labor benefit better from their labor, right? That's what a union does in my mind. And so under that strict definition of giving us healthcare or providing us better payment or workplace environments and stuff,
right?
Not really.
Cool.
There are groups that publicly fight for better treatment and awareness and things like that 100%, and I gladly stand behind all that kind of stuff. But as a functioning union, I can't honestly say that is something that I have seen. There's people who would argue with me about that, but
so there's some efforts out there, but not a huge unifying movement. All right, so
and I support them all. Like I 100% support all like APAG and and all their different things. I think they're wonderful. The Free Speech Coalition, all that kind of stuff. Like I love everything that they do. But a tried and true like proper sex worker union that would encompass strippers and escorts and porn performers and cam workers, that would be something wildly revolutionary for our industry of sex work. That would be super fucking cool.
Obviously, I'm asking as someone very, very far on the periphery, I'm just sort of on the outside looking in, just curious. But I had another thought that I was going to ask you about. Well, I don't know. I guess that's room for improvement. There's
Yeah.
Lemons,
And I think
lemonade,
if
something
everybody
like
could
that.
kind of put their, I don't know, egos aside and their petty disagreements and whatnot aside, and we actually did something that unified, that would be fucking kick-ass. But for now, we have things like Suede and the pocket cells within sex work that do amazing work. And I think all of the sex worker groups are beating ass and doing amazing work. I think a greater unification would be good. A supreme Soviet of sex workers would be something that I would be very much in line with.
Maybe you'd be in the vanguard. Do it.
I'm a soldier. I let I let the smart people lead. Yeah.
Okay. Well, here's the deal. We've gone way over time in a very, very good way. I've enjoyed this a ton. I did want to make sure, though, Xander, that we talk about this other project you've been working on as well, building the tiny homes with. I pushed the wrong button here. Building the tiny homes with New Leaf Building Community. You build these tiny homes. This is so cool. And of course, there's a lot of places where they don't even let you do this. But
they don't let us do it here.
Oh, so you're in Vegas, right?
Yeah, they tear our shit down and
what? The fuck's that all about?
Just police.
Can you tell them to go fuck themselves? Excuse me.
Oh yeah, one of our guys often tells them that, and he gets arrested for it pretty regularly.
That's fucked up. So yeah, you just put these together, a little tarp over the top, keeps the water out, and it's just like, what do we want? Do we want them like sleeping in tents under highways or whatever? Do we want to try to at least house these people and give them a place?
Well,
so that's what you do.
Nevada wants them to pretend they don't exist.
A lot of places do. Yeah, it's disgusting.
Yeah. It's pretty fucked. What the New Leaf thing is, it's a group of really kick-ass comrades who are out here in Vegas, and we build like the tiny Conestoga huts, and it's meant to give people a door they can lock, a roof over their heads, a bed to sleep in, and like even simple shit like shelving to put your stuff away in.
Stuff. Everyone has stuff, right?
Yeah.
Jesus, sorry.
And so it gives people a little security in that. What's up, PJ? It gives people a little security and all that. So that's what we do. That's what that's for. We actually just, with the help of some of our other some of the Suede people are involved in this too. And we all together were able to get a little piece of property that we're actually built a tiny neighborhood on. And there's like community garden and all that kind of stuff. And it's pretty sick. Yeah.
Get out.
So we're looking to we want to do more of that as well. And like build more, we'll build more places like that to where like we can have 8-10 tiny homes on it, and a place where the police can't come fuck with you, because we had a whole like we had a whole, I think there was like 28 tiny huts on a place,
and they tore them down.
Yeah, and it was
all
cool
28.
Like, every single time, like there was a list we had of like names on the list, and it was who signed up for a house. And so every time we would complete one, we would truck it down to this wash where we were setting them all up, and it was beautiful. It was this little neighborhood. They had like a natural running spring right there that they could get like fresh water and bathe and whatever else. And another group had set up like sanitary like porta potties and washing hand station there, and it was awesome. It was this cool little fucking community. But one day we all get like these notifications and text messages, and our boy Joe is there, and the police are there with bulldozers and the whole thing. They basically showed up and told everyone, the like 40 some people who were living there, more than that, that they had 10 minutes to get all their shit. And get out. And then they started tearing all the houses down. So
That makes me so fucking mad.
yeah, it was fucked. So, you know, they tore that neighborhood down, and after that, we were thinking like, okay, so what do we do? How do we keep building? How do we keep giving people places to live? How do we fund this thing? And we ended up landing on, we have to put, because what would happen was we would set them up, and then the police would come and be like, you have to move it. You have to, you know, take it somewhere else, whatever. And yeah, that's a pretty horrifying scene. So what ended up happening was we were like, all right, so let's put them on trailers. Let's put them on wheels, put them on trailers. And so we did that. And then the cops were like, well, this is an unregistered vehicle, blah, blah. And they would start citing people and jailing people and doing whatever else because of that. So then we were like, all right, let's put them on wheels and register them with the DMV. And we did that, and then it was harder for them to fuck with us. And then so you know, if they're like, hey, you have to move it, you have 24 hours to move it. Yeah. We just fucking move it. Yeah, just put it somewhere else. And then
nice.
So yeah,
cat and mouse. Then, look at this.
After that, we decided. The people smarter than me decided to get a little bit of property and just build on something that belongs to the organization. So that's how we do it now. What's up, Wilco? Yeah.
Up, Wilco. Hey, y'all.
Yeah.
Got Hildy Beast around too. Got cool people.
So yeah, that's what New Leaf does. And you can also donate to New Leaf if you want to. You can donate to Suede or contribute to Suede at suedevegas.org/contribute, or you can go to newleafcommunity.org to support them. Either way, and it's funny, it's wild too because it coincides a lot as well.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of unhoused sex workers. You
Look
know?
at that. Yeah.
So it is, you know, you're either way you go, you're helping. Yeah. So it's cool.
That is cool. That's really good stuff. I'm super glad that we got to talk to you about both the work that you do over there with SWAID, SWAID, Sexual Workers Mutual Aid Vegas. Link is in the chat if you want to contribute to that. You know what? I didn't include a link for our other one here for the tiny houses thing. I'm sorry. I'm dropping the name on that. I apologize.
Oh, it's newleafcommunity.org.
Newleafcommunity.org. I'll drop that link in the chat as well.
For
folks who want to contribute.
Hi, Liz. What's up, Dystopia?
Hey, y'all. All right. There's the link there. All right. Well,
Nice.
Well, Xander, this
I love hearing the keyboard.
I love my clicky clacky keyboard. It's just, you know, it's tricky for the stream. Hey, I've literally had a blast, a literal explosion of excitement hanging out and chatting with you today. Xander, you're based, you're objectively good, you're never cringe, and that's those are my favorite reasons for having someone on to chat with. And you do really cool work, and of course, you know, your work in the adult film industry is super interesting and terribly exciting to learn about. And let's just say, really had a blast chatting with you today. You know, I want you to consider this door open in terms of, you know, updating us on any projects that you're working on, or if there's like anything, you know, worth talking about in the sex worker community that you'd love to share with. I think I'd love to have you back on sometime. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I would be more than happy to. And if you ever want as well, sometime in the future, to bring some of the other people from Suede or something on, because like Summer and Cody can talk circles around me when it comes to like legal stuff and the legislation things that are going on. Like they're incredible. And Tegan, they're all, and Queen Ava, all of them are super. And Queen Ava's, you know, she's a POC sex worker, so she's got perspectives that I can't even fucking,
right?
You know, so I think awesome. They're all. It would be cool to have like a not a panel. Those panels are weird, but like it'd be cool to have the whole crew on.
I'm gonna collect them all. I'm gonna Pokemon you. You know what I mean? I'm just gonna, you know, gotta get them all. I love the way that sounds. You know, my show is very much about promoting voices that are not the sort of the white, the mediocre white guy perspective,
Right.
All right. And that's me. Okay. Well,
yeah, and if you want to get one of these,
yes,
you can go to that link. I don't know if Sierra's still in here, but the link that was posted earlier with our shop.
Right.
You can get this shirt and we have a bunch of shirts and stuff. So if you want to rep, and if you can't donate, also I want to say if you don't have the means, no pressure. Any amount of money helps. So don't feel like too little is not worth anything, because it is totally worth a lot. If you even just give us retweets, if you even tell people about, if you know a sex worker, if you are a sex worker, please hit us up on Twitter. If you need something, go to the website and put in a request. And also, Dan, since you're a commie too, I want to show off something that I just got the other day. It's really cool.
Hit me. Yeah. This has been good. Xander's been the guest that stayed with me the longest. Just going to show how much I'm enjoying this. Yo, what do we got here?
So I ordered this. Interestingly enough, I ordered this from Ukraine like 3 days before everything happened, which I'm amazed that it got here. But so I got.
You're sanctioned.
I know, right? I'm definitely on a lot of lists.
Love it. From Ukraine.
And look, it even has like when it was made.
Wow. 77 before the dissolution.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then like on here, it has things written in.
Okay.
It has something written in I can kind of read Russian a little bit, like I've been learning.
That's Vadanya.
That's written in Russian cursive, so I have no fucking idea what it says. But it's
that's really hard to understand. I've seen that.
Yeah, but it's an aluminum Lenin bust, and I was very, very excited about that.
Amazing. It sounds heavy.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's the real deal right there.
That's fucking based. That is truly based. Love it. All right.
Yeah.
Well,
thank you for having me on.
My pleasure. I was just saying, when you stepped away, you've been my longest running guest. I haven't had a guest stay with me this long in a long time. I try to keep it short, but it's been too much fun. I couldn't send you away today. I'm so sorry to steal more of your time than I promised you. But again, this has been a great time. Thank you for joining me today, Xander. Thank you for sharing with me your perspective and just for being cool. And thanks again. We're gonna let you go. All right.
Appreciate you, bud.
Appreciate you. All right. Love your face. Peace. Solidarity. We'll see you next time. All right.
Later.
That was a good one, y'all. This is not a fail. This is a success. Love your face. See ya. You love to see it. Bored.